The first week of the high school football season is in the books, and all three McKinney ISD schools played an exciting game. Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Tyler Sloan. Unfortunately for McKinney High and Boyd, both were on the losing end of two back-and-forth ball games. We'll have Jeff Smith and Don Drake in studio to find out what adjustments they plan on making next week to come out with the victory. North was on the winning side of an emotional game against Newman Smith. Mike Fetchy will let us know how it feels to start out 1-0 on the new season. Don't forget, our Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week is coming up later in the show as well. But for now, it's time to check out the highlights of McKinney ISD football on Sports Talk. Lions performed well in their opening game against Mansfield Legacy. Couldn't quite come home with the win. They lost 38-28 to that team. I'm joined by their head coach, Jeff Smith. And Coach, overall with the game, you have to be pleased with the performance of your players. A lot of them haven't necessarily had the experience of playing on these Friday night games.
Yeah, I was pleased with a lot of things. You know, going into this game, there were a lot of unknowns with a lot of our team and positions, and we just had a lot of question marks. We felt really good about some things and felt like we could execute well and do some things well, but until you get out there and you line up on Friday night against a good opponent, you don't really know how it's all going to turn out. And so I was pleased with some of the things that I saw. I was also, we saw some things that we needed to address, and things we need to work on, and as you do early in the season. But overall, I saw some really good signs and things that I think that we can build on.
Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties today, so we won't be showing the highlights for the McKinney Lions game, but I'll go ahead and run through with you just sort of the flow of the game. Starting in the first quarter, Legacy gets an early touchdown. Their running back, Jana Amos, is a difficult guy to stop. I've seen him before in action as well. But on the extra point attempt, you get a nice block and then a return by John Terrell Rockmore for 2 points.
Yeah, it was a great play, and Amos was the running back last year, and we knew he was going to be a handful. He's a big back, he's strong, and if it wasn't for we almost got to stop. They went for a fake punt and got it and extended the drive and punched it in, and it was good to see a sway in momentum with us blocking that PAT field goal. PAT. After the touch, and it was a good play and executed well. It's something that we work on in practice, and it was a good play.
And also threw off the scoring balance. We had some unusual scores in the first couple of quarters because of that. You have a drive now after that with your quarterback, Brian Sutter, played well in his first game. He threw a nice 44-yard pass to T.V. Williams, and that set up Tyree Johnson lined up as a quarterback for a 10-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, it was good to see Brian really step up and do some good things. I thought that he played within himself. He did some things that we had asked him to do, and he stayed within that. TV had a good night. Marcus Cross had a good night, which was exciting. Antonio Oliver. But yeah, it was good to see us kind of get into a little bit of a rhythm, kind of knock off the nerves a little bit and execute. And then bringing Tyree and brings in a kind of a different dimension to what we do. We have a kind of a running quarterback that can really run the ball, and we got in the end zone, and it's good to always get that first score and kind of get the ball rolling.
It took the lead 8-6 at that point. They, midway through the second quarter, were able to expand through a couple of touchdowns to an 18-8 lead for Legacy. But then you get a nice touchdown coming back. Brian Sutter, a 56-yard touchdown pass to Marcus Cross, who you just mentioned, and it's so big with T.V. Williams having so much attention on him to have another guy that can put out the same time of numbers and have two threats equally deep.
Sure, and it is, and that's what it was exciting to see Marcus play well and us get the ball to him. TV's an explosive player, and he had a great night still, even though he draws a lot of coverage his way. He had a really good night, and Brian did a good job getting them both the ball. But the play action was good, and we were able to get some good pass plays to those guys, and we were a little bit successful. So it was exciting to see that.
At this point, you trail 18-15 with about 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter. And on your next drive, you have an interception thrown by your quarterback that directly leads to a touchdown going back the other way. And that's right before the half, a chance where you're trying to get some points, maybe tie this game up going into halftime, and just a huge momentum swing.
It was, you want to get into half, and 33, their linebacker, outside linebacker, it's a great player, made a good play on the ball, and but I think that you got to kind of take with young players. Sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to teach them in those moments. And we went into halftime and made some good adjustments, and came out and played really, really well in the third quarter, and brought it right back to where it needed to be. I was really proud of our kids in that we were down 18-8, we were down 25-15, and they kept battling and pulling themselves right back to 4 points or less down, and had a chance to take the lead at different times. And so kids really battled, even being behind. So I was pleased with their effort. But that took us into halftime, and we made some good adjustments. And I thought defensively we played better the second half. I thought offensively we continued to move the ball even better the second half. And so I thought we played better in a lot of ways.
I want to talk about that defense because they really kept you in this game. It could have gotten away from you at the beginning of the third quarter, where you drive and have a 1st and goal inside Legacy territory. Looks like you're about to score, and then Johnson fumbles the ball. And then Legacy, could have expanded that 10-point lead even further, but you get a key stop that sets up Johnson to make amends and score a touchdown in your next drive.
Yeah, they got the ball first in the second half, and we got a stop, and they punted it to us. We got great field position, and as you said, we got it down to about the 5, and we put the ball on the ground. When the ball goes to the end zone, it's a touchback, and so they get the ball on the 20. But our defense came out and got another stop again. We got the ball back, and we went down and scored and got that one in the end zone. And so that brought us right back to where we needed to be, a little bit closer. And that showed a lot from our kids that, hey, let's put the negative play behind us. And we talk about that all the time with our kids. When we make a mistake, we can't dwell on those. We've got to move on. We've got to think about the next play. And our kids did a really good job of that. I thought we grew a lot from the scrimmage to Friday night in how we play the game mentally.
To start out the fourth quarter, Legacy had scored another touchdown to again go up by 9 points at this point. You get a touchdown pass to T.V. Williams on the first play of the fourth quarter. It puts you within 3, and at that point, as a coach, you're feeling that the game is now, up for grabs, anyone's game.
We did, and the momentum was clearly in our favor when we brought it to 3 points, and we felt like defense was playing well, offense was moving the ball, but give credit to Mansfield Legacy. They came out and stiffened up as well and moved the ball down the field and scored again, and so we were continuing to play catch up. It seemed like the second half.
When you scored to make it 31-28, those were your last points of the game. Obviously, Legacy added that one more touchdown, but that was early in the fourth quarter. They did score the touchdown. Why do you think in the last 9 minutes or so you weren't able to find that extra score or two that was going to give you the extra points you needed to get into the lead?
Well, we had an opportunity and got it to midfield, and in 5 minutes on the clock, we decided to go for it. We felt like we may not get the ball back with very much time. We were down 10 at that time, and so we went for it and we didn't get it. And then from there, we got to stop, but we just ran out of time. I thought that we did some good things. We just, we ran out of time, and that last drive that Legacy had on us, really extended it for them. And so, we need to get off to a better start. We need to, I think, we need to limit the mistakes, obviously, and just finish. And those 3 things will help us next week if we get those things fixed.
Both Antonio Oliver and Tyree Johnson each had 70 yards rushing on the game, and Johnson had the 2 touchdowns. Overall, what did you think of your running back's performance?
He did a real good job. He's a tough kid. He runs hard. Antonio does, and we're proud of him, and he's still learning. But I tell you what, he did a good job for us against a good defense. I think they do a good job on defense over there, and I thought Antonio did a good job carrying the ball for us.
Also want to mention how Marcus Cross had 5 receptions for 100 yards with the touchdown. TV Williams nearly matched him, 4 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. And Brian Sutter, as a quarterback overall, had over 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But for a quarterback, you understand the turnovers in an opening game like this, and you had 3 overall as a team. In the next games, how do you cut down on these turnovers?
Well, ball security is something that we work on. We'll continue to work on in practice, securing the football. With our backs and our quarterbacks, and as far as throwing, obviously we don't want to throw interceptions and 3 turnovers in game 1. I think they had no turnovers. They had 1 they put on the ground, but they got it back, and that really comes out to be one of the big keys of the game. And so we have to take care of the football. As coaches, we got to put our players in the positions to take care of them and hopefully help with their decision making, and we try to do that the best that we can. And put them in positions to be successful. That's what we need to do as coaches. So I know our staff's going to do everything we can to help them this week progress, and really cut down the turnovers and cut down on some of the mistakes that we had.
Defensively, I know you were really impressed with the play of your linebackers in this game, and it's so key to get that type of performance out of that particular position because they're in the middle of the field. They're having to really do the most work reading both the run and the short passing game.
Right. They did a good job, and that's a group that had some experience from last year. It was a good, Ross Chan and Reed Thompson, and we've got some other young linebackers that are stepping in, Brian Cooper and Marcus Jones and different ones. But I thought the linebackers played pretty well for us defensively in spots, and were probably some of the better efforts of the night on defense. We've got some defensive linemen that played well as well, and in the secondary too. We just, as a group, we need to collectively be a little bit better. We need to tackle a little bit better, get lined up a little better. In some of the first games of the year, we had some misalignments, and those are things that are all fixable, things that we can fix, and that's what we're working on today. That's what we worked on yesterday.
Let's talk a little bit about next week's game against Frisco Heritage. You're going up against a team that put a lot of points up on the board against Lovejoy. They also led up an equal amount of points in a loss to Lovejoy, who is a good team as well. And so Frisco Heritage, their quarterback Malik Walker, he threw it 52 times last week. He also can ran for over 100 yards. He's a dangerous guy to go up against.
He is, and he's a good player. He was not on their. If he was on their team last year, he was on the JV. He's a young, explosive player. He's a junior, and like I said, he's got really good mechanics. He throws the ball very well. They do a good job on offense. They run it, but I'd say they throw it, they're more 60-40 pass to run, so they like to throw the ball a lot. He's a gunslinger. He throws a good ball. And we've got to do a good job in the secondary. We need to get a good pass rush, but he's a running threat as well. So we've got to do a good job containing the quarterback and make him stay in the pocket and try to put pressure on him a little bit and make him make poor throws and decisions. And I feel like our secondary is one of our strengths on our defense, and that's a good thing. So we really are going to lean heavily on them to do a good job on the back end. But they're a good team, and I think they're better than they were last year. And so we're going to have to play well.
It's going to be a short week for your team. You play on Thursday at 7 o'clock in a cool venue to play at, FC Dallas Stadium, where the FC Dallas soccer team plays. And obviously, being a soccer field, they convert a lot of times into football fields really nicely. So how do you feel like your team's going to do on this fast surface?
It's going to be a great atmosphere. I've had the opportunity to play there one time in the past, and I loved it. It's nice. It's a neat surface. It's a neat stadium. It'll be neat for our kids to get a chance to play there. Being a Thursday game, it's a short week. We had Labor Day yesterday, so we practiced in the morning and got that done. Had a great practice, sometimes it's good to have a short week. You're ready to get back out there and get things right, and get on track. And that's what I told them at the end of the game last week was I'm ready to go back to work. I can't wait to play another game and get to that point where we can really show what we can do and fix the things and get better. And so I'm excited. It's a Thursday game. It'll be a great game. It's going to be a great venue.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for stopping by on the show today, and I'll let you go get back to work for that game against Frisco Heritage.
Thank you.
McKinney Lions will take on Frisco Heritage again, as I said earlier, Thursday night, 7 o'clock at FC Dallas Stadium. Should be a cool venue to go see a football game at. and McKinney is going to try and even up their record with a win to try to get to 1-1 on the season.